Defense News. It's proudly sponsored by Navy Federal Credit Union. If you're a member of our nation's armed forces, the Department of Defense, or if your family is, we'd be proud to serve you too.
On this episode of Defense News Weekly, buckle up for some highlights from SOF Week. We went down to Tampa to take a look at gear and tech on offer to the special operations community, and found some new items you might want to take a look at. From breaching tools and new ways to gain access to vessels on the high seas, to a unique new airborne platform and more, we scoured the show for interesting tech. Strap on your personal diver propulsion system and sneak around with us to check out the latest in news and analysis, from the Pentagon to the platoon, here on Defense News Weekly. Sneaking around silently and unnoticed is a primary skill set for a special operations warrior. But what happens when you get to the destination? You gotta get in somehow to reach the target. Whether it's a ship at sea or a house in a city, there are tools to help. We looked at some interesting new options at SOF Week 2025.
So I'm here at Skylo Tech at the Global SOF Foundation SOF Week in Tampa, Florida. And we're looking at ways that Marines, SEALs, and MARSOC Raiders might be able to get on a boat. So Richie, can you tell us a little about what I'm looking at here?
This is the Skylo Tech Neptune pole. Its entire intention is to conduct VBSS operations.
What's a VBSS operation?
So vessel boarding, search and seizure. And what this pole is it's a 6-piece carbon fiber tube set that's meshed together. And there's a variety of different hook configurations that you can use depending on what the end user is trying to accomplish. So the way we have it configured right now, this is our Sierra hook. It's a fully titanium hook that's rated to over 2,500 pounds of direct load. And then the arch load is, I want to say, over 4,000 pounds. So you can have, up to 4 operators climbing whatever net or ladder configuration they're using. And it can support that. When you're transiting in the boat, you would have this in some sort of horizontal configuration, stow it away. And then once it's time to actually do the boarding, you'd have a ladder man and a pole man. You extend the hook out with a throttle here, and then you can have a ton of precision when it comes to accurately in placing the hook. And then once the hook is set, if you want to be my ladder man, you can come over here, pull directly down on that ladder. So now you've released the pole from the system, this goes out of the way, and your guys can start climbing.
So the more precise and controlled way to accurately get to the top of the ship or to the side of the ship where you need to place that hook.
Absolutely, yeah. And the speed and the control you have with this device is really not even comparable. Especially if you're on a ship or a fast boat, in heavy sea state, the ability to, manipulate the tip of this pole and have rapid employment, and then you can go back up and down. You can put this hook exactly where you need it every single time.
So this doesn't look quite big enough as it is to get to the top of a ship. What different sizes does this come in?
So this is a demo unit specifically made for trade shows, but this pole will come in a 12-meter size, a 16-meter size, and a 20-meter length.
How much does something like this weigh?
So a 12-meter version would weigh 35 pounds, a 16 is 42 and a half roughly, and then the 20 meters, 50 pounds. So one person can't pick this pole up and move it around.
Man portable, a single person can carry it, 2 people can use it, and 3 people can climb at a time or more.
Yeah, you can get 4 people on the ladder at a time, depending on the ladder.
We got some other kit we're gonna check out, so let's go check that out.
Absolutely.
So a lot of boarding anything requires some climbing, whether it's a rock ledge or a ship. I'm familiar with the traditional mechanical ascenders you pull and just haul yourself up a rope. But what am I looking at here?
This is the Skylo Tech TCX2 Seal Assault version of a power ascender. We have a full series of power ascenders that have different waterproofing ratings. So this version is an IP68, so it's diveable to 30 feet for 4 hours. This machine is tailored more for VBSS operations. So you can attach a 425 pounds of direct load to this point right here. And then this has over 200 feet a minute of ascent speed. So I can show that to you if you want to see it. So it'll ramp up, and then you can board the side of the ship very quickly.
Oh,
This is an encrypted Bluetooth frequency that will run up to 200 meters. So you can keep it controlled on the remote, or you can attach personnel directly to the machine.
so if I didn't have one of these, how am I getting up that rope?
Either with a ladder or ascending it manually with ascenders like we have over there.
A little bit of an arm workout.
Yeah, a lot of an arm workout, yeah.
Well, I think you got one more thing we're going to look at here. We're going to take off and to check that out real quick. I appreciate you showing this to us.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm here at Skylotech talking with Marcus about their breaching kit. Marcus, you got a lot of cool tools here. Can you tell me a little bit about what each of these does?
Yeah, so this is some of the tools. Basically, we provide a pretty wide concept of different breaching tools to like suit every different needs. So everything from like the heavy stuff, if you can bring the heavy stuff, you will have everything you need, but not all units can do that. Then we also have more compromised stuff like glide kit, tactical kit, or the collapsible tools, and even smaller stuff. So we provide different kits, pretty much.
So you can kind of mix and match different pieces you need for the kit you need for that particular mission?
You could mix and match. We recommend that you stick with each kit. You could take one tool if you want to, but I recommend that you bring the kit, because when you bring in the kit, you will be able to breach both in and outward going doors, and pretty much no matter the quality of the door. So these are designed to breach both like wooden doors, plastic door, PVC doors, but also steel doors and security doors, even with hook locks and stuff, no matter if it's in and outward going. And then the end user can choose like, yeah, I'm gonna be facing some really heavy duty doors. I'd rather bring the heavy stuff for this mission, if they can. So that's pretty much the function of the mechanical parts, the mechanical tools. Then we also have like braking rakes for windows. And again, if the end user don't necessarily need to know what type of window it is. If it's floating glass, laminated, hardened glass, doesn't really matter. You can breach it with our tools. So in this case, we have a collapsible braking rake. If you want to store it in a vehicle in a more convenient way, you can detach it. You can still use it as this one if you want to, but you can attach to get some leverage, get away from the window and so on.
Why the shape like this? What's the design do for you as you're breaking rake glass?
Yeah, so the first thing you want to do with the window is punch a hole to get access through the window. You could use the tip of it, of course, but if it's a very hard glass, what might happen is when I'm striking it, it can fall like this. In that way, you can use the backside. As a first punch, you have to destroy the window. If you're using the backside, no matter which angle I'm coming in, I will always have a sharp end hitting the window. So that's why we start with this end, just smashing a hole, bam. Once I get the hole, I can turn the tool like this. I put the tip behind the frame, and then this will work as a saw function. So I really can work intense with stay connected to the frame the whole time, and just clearing away all the glass fragments. Yeah. So instead of just pushing the glass away, just using it as a saw. Yeah. And that will really clear away the glass as much as possible from the beginning. Because you want it, if you want to do an entry, you want it clean.
It all comes kind of self-contained in its own pack. Can you tell us a little bit of the features of the pack and kind of how this all comes together?
So in this case, here we have the heavy kit. This is approximately like 25 kilos, so it's heavy. But if you can carry it, you will have everything you need. You will have our P9, the big pry bar, with a long leverage, a thick head to really separate the lock from the frame. You have a smaller pry bar if you want something more convenient, like easier to carry, thinner head. And you also have the mini ram. This will also work as a striking tool for the pry bars. If you have an outward going door, you strike them in and you breach. If the door is inward going, low quality, you can still ram it. If you facing an outward going door, and you have an overlap that covers the gap between the door and the frame, so you really can't get in there. This tool, set it behind the overlap. You can do this silently, and you remove the overlap. And now we have a straight highway, straight in between the door and the frame. So this is really a lifesaver when you need it. And I mean, bolt cutters, if there's something that needs to be cut, and a small sledgehammer.
Well, do you mind, while this is unloaded, before it's not hurt my old aging back, do you mind if I try this out and put
Absolutely,
it on?
I'll help you.
All right.
All right. There you go.
Not bad, not bad. That's not as heavy as I thought it'd be.
And then you have the brake and rake for the windows. There you go.
For when you forget your hotel room key, you can always brake and rake.
When we come back, some unique ways to get from point A to point B as a special operator. Special Ops comes with some special gear, and at SOF Week 2025, we checked out 2 unique ways for troops to get around.
Pivotal's essentially about a 14-year startup that's been in the process of developing a electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. The one that you see behind me here is Helix, which will be released for production in and around December, Q1 of next year. And we're here at SOF Week to show that the aircraft is usable for military purposes, for insertion, extraction, search and rescue, developing or delivering goods into forward operating areas with about a 200 to 220 pound payload, all electric, very quiet audible signature, below 78 dB in some cases, almost imperceptible at 250 feet or above. And so the aircraft is designed to land in just about any terrain, grass, snow, on emergency cases in water. The aircraft has floats for that purpose. And currently the aircraft is about a 20-mile, 20-minute range, and scalable to a much larger platform as we're showing here with a demonstrator of multiple engines and roughly up to 1,000, 2,000 pound payload. The aircraft is optionally manned, so you can fly it unmanned, which has been done for thousands of hours, as well as human flight. Has autonomous takeoff and landing capabilities to hover mode or cruise mode, and then on landing, roughly at about 40 feet AGL, you can command the aircraft to land automatically. Currently the aircraft is a one-person aircraft. It's scalable to a multi-configuration platform where you could have a pilot and a payload in addition to that. So the aircraft can deliver goods and then extract other payloads, if you will, whether they're casualties or other troops. Correct.
If flying an experimental one-man aircraft isn't your style, maybe you're looking for an interesting way to get around underwater. We checked out a diver propulsion system called jet boots.
These are jet boots diver propulsion. It's a hands-free diver propulsion that's used for anything from shipboarding, infills, exfills. You can just set your power and thrust. It enables your hands to be free for whatever you need to do diving, whether it be navigation. It's been in use with NSW and a lot of elite special forces units worldwide for about a decade now. It completely eliminates diver fatigue. Air consumption goes way down. They can show up on target much fresher, and they're easy. They can be worn for shipboarding, walking, climbing, running as well. So it's just a much easier option for the guys to use as opposed to holding on to a scooter and having to don it. Now they can actually wear their equipment for their mission, get back in the water, and continue on. It works off 2 knobs. You just have a power knob and a thrust knob. This enables you to set your thrust and have your hands free for navigation or other options during your dive. With our smaller battery, it can go 50 minutes at full thrust, which nobody does. It's about 3 knots, but it can last up to 4 hours at about 1 to 2 knots. And then our bigger battery lasts an hour and a half to upwards of 8 hours. You just have a simple harness and then 2 leg straps So it's easy to dish. If you needed to ditch, you just got 3 buckles. And then it's just simple system, 2 straps, 1 buckle, a harness here. You're wearing your lithium-ion battery on the back. You can adjust this as high or low as you want. This is for open air scuba tanks. But of course, if you're doing rebreather, you would have it at the highest mount position. We also have suspender mounts with a suspender option where you can mount the battery to your back or chest as well. They can be hot swapped underwater, so you can change them staying subsurface without any issues. We also offer what's called a multi-battery interface where you could daisy chain 2 batteries together, and once one dies, you just shut the unit off, turn it back on, and it'll kick over to the new battery. So all you would do to operate them is just power on, 1 click, and then this thrust knob, you would just turn it from its off position to any spot along that along the wheel, and it'll set your thrust from minimal to upwards of 3 knots. So this is something we integrated this last year. This is a Shark Marine technology connection here. It can connect to a dive tablet or e-tech, and you can actually get, you can do navigation with it. It can control the jet boots, and it can also display what your current battery is at with the jet boots, and at your current thrust, how far you can go. This is what most people will use with it. You can also use this to incorporate with some of our other products like the Hammerhead. You can use this to call the SDV to you, program a route, so people with jet boots and our other propulsion devices can communicate.
When we return, our financial expert is back with her latest advice. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You might have your credit in line, but what about your kids? On this edition of Money Minute, Jeanette Mack from Navy Federal Credit Union explains how you can help.
It's never too soon to talk to kids about money. They're probably not thinking seriously about their financial future, even as teens. But being money savvy earlier in life sets them up to be smart spenders and savers as adults. The first step, teaching good money habits. Prepaid spending cards are excellent tools for learning how to budget. Next up, building and using credit responsibly. Think about adding your child as an authorized user on your credit card. You can set up spending limits and earn rewards for their purchases. And they can practice making purchases and paying off balances quickly, establish credit, and create good credit habits. When they're ready for their own card, a secured card is a great choice. It lets your child use their own money as a line of credit, usually a deposit of $200 or $500. Once they get used to handling credit, they can upgrade to a non-secured card. And finally, don't forget to fill them in on the golden rule. Never make purchases with credit you can't afford to pay back in a month or 2. With these tips, you'll be setting your kids up to be amazing money managers, something they'll truly be thankful for.
To get more coverage of military and defense topics, flip down your nods and search out militarytimes.com and defensenews.com. And to be the most up-to-date Delta operator in the Little Bird, sign up for our Early Bird Brief, compiled each morning bringing you the most recent headlines. And if social media is how you stay up to date, follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and X. And for you new recruits, we're on TikTok, so go find us there as well. When we come back, more from our coverage at SOF Week 2025. Welcome back. It wouldn't be a Special Forces convention without some gnarly-looking weapons. We checked out one option from High Ground Defense, a modified minigun.
This is our M134HG minigun. It fires 3,000 rounds per minute at max or 1,700 rounds per minute at low rate. Some of the new features that we've designed on the minigun are the safing sector. Our safing sector operates differently than anyone else's. If I want to arm the gun, typically they take the steering mechanism out of the gun in this manner. We do it forward and aft linearly. So if I'm flying around or driving around and the gun is in safe and I need to arm it because I want to shoot the gun, I slide the safing sector forward. Now I'm fully armed. When I want to put it back in safe, I pull it back. It also has a feature. If you choose to use this, you can lock this gun out completely. Now it's completely safe by putting that quick release pin in. Now I can't force it into fire, and then I stow the pin on the gun. It's a little easier for the operator. It's more of an action like a rifle, arming or charging a bolt on a rifle. I don't have to do. I can do anything I want with. I can do it with gloves on. I can do it less action than how others operate. Most open in this fashion. Ours is a linear forward and aft. One of our new features on the gun control unit is a quick release that enables you to remove the gun control unit and clean the gun or service the gun without having to take the GCU off of the spade grips. We have a quick release lever. You disconnect the cannon plugs, grab that lever, and remove the spade grips and the gun control unit. If the gun control unit has failed, I have another one on the shelf already mounted to the spade grips. I just attach that one, lock it in, reconnect my cannon plugs, and I'm ready to go. Another feature on our gun control unit, we have a built-in rounds counter. It counts up from 0, so if I know how many rounds I've loaded, say 3,000 rounds, I reset the counter to 0. It counts up as I fire. It has a dim for NVG capability, and it has a bright for daytime, or you can turn it off if you don't want the light in your face when you're flying or on a vehicle. Has a boost feature, so I push this button and it boosts the ammo from the feed can through the booster up to the gun. Easier to load, faster to load. Those are the main features of the gun control unit. Our feeder doors are a little bit different than everybody else. Typically these doors, when you load the ammo into the feeder, these doors are split in half. You hold the ammo seated into the feeder sprocket with one hand, you close the door, you move your hand, you close the second door. Ours operates a little differently. You hold the ammo with your thumb, you close this lever. Now I have full visual capability to make sure that my rounds are seated in the feeder so that they're going to connect with the gun, and then I close the door. Our flash hider is a little bit different. We've taken some of the material out of the center of the flash hider, made it more of an open cage design that reduces the heat of the barrels faster than that large amount of metal that's running down through the center of the barrels. Our feeder sprocket is a little different. You can't see it, but our feeder sprocket, we control the round by the case of the neck, which we have a lot fewer handoff jams, if any, than other feeder sprockets. And those are the main differences. It operates like anybody else's M134, the legacy gun, with these major improvements. It's not important in a combat environment because you typically would want to fire at 3,000 rounds a minute, but in training, if you're trying to conserve ammo, because you go through a lot of ammo, this gun eats a lot of ammo at 3,000 rounds a minute, 50 rounds a second, so you can almost cut that in half for training, slow the gun down, conserve your ammo, or even on a mission, if you only had a certain amount of ammo and you want to conserve it, you can still put 1,700 rounds a minute on the target and not go through it as fast. This is in production now, yes.
Well, that's all we have time for in this episode. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.